Hey friends, let's see, this week, wow, we've had weather all over the place. It's definitely feeling very autumnal. The clock's changed, and so now it's dark when I leave work, which always starts to put me in, well, let's be real. First, it puts me into a sad mood because I often work in an area without too much natural light, and therefore I don't really see much daylight during the during the winter and or late autumn months. So, you'll see a lot of stuff here that's kind of comforting. I've started moving into... I've actually got a couple of things here that I used to wear mainly in winter. But I feel like when you're looking at like 8 degrees in the morning and like 15 degrees max, but it's windy and it's rainy and it's just got that chill in the air, I think a couple of these just kind of worked really well, actually. Let's just get on with it anyway. I've got a few comforting things here as well. Lovely. Let's get this one up. Really nice. This Angham from Lataffa. Let's put her on her angle. Let me just check, because last week I started and it was totally out of focus. This is looking a bit crisper. So Angham, you can see actually the colour of this liquid is really starting to darken up. It was a bit paler when I first got it, and it's looking much, much more yellow than it used to. If I can show you... Yeah, you can see it was literally that pale. It was like a really nice pale yellowy colour, and now it's really getting deeper. And I think it's getting a bit stronger and it's lasting for longer, which is obviously what people say about a lot of Middle Eastern perfumes anyway, that you have to let them macerate. But as I don't have a huge amount, this is probably my first... Is it my first experience of a full bottle? It's certainly my first full bottle of Lataffa. Possibly my only ever, we shall see. I've not had any success with any of the other samples I've had, so this might remain my only Lataffa, but it's definitely improved as it aged. So Angham, ginger, mandarin, pink pepper in the top, lavender, praline, cacao, jasmine in the mid, base notes vanilla, amber and musk. It's like this slightly juicy, spicy, bright, sheer, sweet vanilla. This one, it doesn't list any wood in the base, but I'm quite sure there's some kind of, not quite pencil shaving-y, but there is some kind of warm and powdery wood scent that I get in the dry down of this, which is, I think, apart from the maybe extra sugariness, I think that woody note that I get in the base is what differentiates this the most from Goddess, if I compare the two. And I think Goddess has much more ginger in it, but I feel like this is so similar. It's such a good alternative if you don't want to spend Burberry money. And I actually really love this bottle, and I love the Burberry Goddess bottle, although specifically I like the 50ml. I feel like the 100ml Burberry Goddess, because they're the same size little disc on all of them, that one's okay. The 30ml that I had looked kind of weird because the disc was massive on the bottle, but the 50ml just looks so chic and so beautiful. Anyway, stop going on about it. So that is Lataffa's Angham. And then I wore... I mean, to be honest, guys, it was quite a simple week this week because I've been really busy at work. There's been all kinds of other activities going on. And I'm also still feeling a little bit filled with the cold, you know. So I hadn't really been thinking too much about what I've reached for here, and I don't think I've reached for anything unusual, exciting, and I don't have anything new. So I hope I'm not boring you guys. But I did wear this one, and it's the first time I have worn this in a really long time because I went off berry perfumes completely. Last year, I just did not wear my berry perfumes unless it was cherry. But I'm trying to get back into them, so I pulled this one out. This one is Philosophy Falling in Love. So I do, if you can see, have an actual dent in this bottle. You can see it better from the back. This is a 120ml bottle, and most of this dent is from when I very first got it, and I got absolutely obsessed with it, and I wore it loads. But I don't think I ever wore this out of the house. I always wore it around the house. And I mean, it's just funny. It's weird the way that tastes change, because I do still enjoy this, but I don't love this the way that I did when I first got it. Like, I really was like low-key obsessed with this when I first got it. And this time I wore it and I was like, it's nice, but I prefer Jeanne from Lanvin. And that was the one I was going to declutter because I thought I liked this one better, and I had that Lolita Lempicka. And now, at the moment, I like Jeanne better than either the Mon Eau from Lolita Lempicka or Falling in Love from Philosophy. So I'm just like, okay, I'm just so changeable, which is why, unless I really know I don't like something, I'm trying not to declutter it. Like, unless I know that it smells terrible on me, or there's something in it that really irritates me, I'm just trying not to declutter things unless I'm absolutely sure, because I keep changing my mind about things, and sometimes I won't like it, sometimes I will. I did enjoy wearing this, I just didn't love it the way I used to. But what I did love was that the next day I could smell it on my sheets, and it smelled so good on my sheets. And I was like, oh, okay. It's funny because you spray it on and you don't necessarily realise you're wearing it. It's not one I'm really aware of, but it clings on forever to clothes. And I knew that because when I used to wear it, if I put it on in the morning and I had a robe on or something, the next day, if I put that robe on in the morning, it always still smells like this. So, oh, let me give you the notes. It is really beautiful though. But when I bought this, I did get, without even realise I was getting it, I got 2 bottles of this for like £27 from Simply Be. Was it Simply Be? Anyway, one of the JD Williams kind of fashion world places. And so I had 2 120ml bottles. So I think this is enough for me in my collection. So I will get rid of my other bottle, which I was kind of always planning to do. I just didn't really get round to it. So yeah, I mean, it is beautiful. It's very sweet, in a kind of sugary way, to be honest. So this is blackberry, vanilla, musk, jasmine, and lily of the valley. Now, it's not sweet to me in a vanillic way. This smells like a very sugary cream mixed in with this. It still smells like a perfume. It doesn't smell entirely gourmand. But it's got a beautiful, juicy, bright, lovely blackberry. Really nice. Definitely musky. You can get a sense for florals, but it's not like, I wouldn't be able to say I can smell jasmine or I can smell lily of the valley. It just smells enough like a perfume that you're like, well, there's florals in it. But it has a real sugary sweetness. I'm sort of surprised not to see like chantilly cream or something in here. It gives me that feel, but it's not thick because it is still so much of that blackberry juice. It's really, really lovely. So it is going to stay around with me. I'm not as obsessed with it as I was when I first got it. Maybe that's just that thing, you know, when you first get something new, you get a bit overexcited about it. But it's delicious anyway. And then, I mean, I'd say I had 3 days, maybe 4 days if you include Angham, where I didn't necessarily have time to think about what I was wearing for one reason or another, or my head felt a bit like all over the place, and I was just like, what am I wearing and what do I think will go nicely with it, or what is an easy reach? And so one of those days, I'm still just as obsessed. This one has not lost its luster. Lanvin Modern Princess. This is my new massive bottle of it. This is my 100ml. So I had the 30ml, which I absolutely hammered through. Finished that up. And then, obviously, I had to get this one as a backup because I knew I wouldn't want to be without it for long. Absolutely lush. I love it. And it's perfect because it works so beautifully in warm weather. Because it's red apple, it also works really nicely in autumn. I think it's gorgeous. And if you're someone who doesn't like very sweet or very gourmand perfumes, this has a nice balance because it does still smell like a perfume. It's very fruity and juicy. It's not heavy. It's quite musky, but it does have a quality that almost winks at something that's gourmand, because the same with the Philosophy one, it almost has like a slightly creamy feel to it, and it has a slightly sugary feel, but it's such a juicy red apple that it's not like something that someone who loves Bianco Latte would consider to be in any way gourmand, probably not even like creamy or sweet, but I feel like there's a very subtle creaminess to this, which I love. So this one, top notes of red apple, red currant, middle notes of freesia and jasmine, base notes vanilla, orchid, white musk and white wood. So I feel like the vanilla orchid is what's putting in the work here to give it this delicious sweetness, a kind of lovely gentle sweetness. I think of this as being a red apple and freesia musk, but it's definitely got this kind of slightly creamy sweet quality, which is just, I mean, it's beautiful in autumn. I love red apple in autumn, and I still wish that I had more red apple perfumes than I do, but I've not really found a huge amount that I love, you know, and I don't want ones that smell like shampoo, and this does not smell like shampoo. It's fabulous. Next up, oh, I haven't worn this one for a while. You can tell it's getting colder if I start reaching for fresh cream perfumes from Philosophy. I've worn 2 Philosophies this week, not deliberately. I wore Fresh Cream and Mint, and this guy, I mean, I just have to have a very quick moan. I reckon I've added this to the Fragrantica forum, to the strand that is about missing fragrances. I'm quite sure I've added Fresh Cream and Mint body spray 3 times at least, and I've added the honey one, and I've added the Marzipan Dreams, all of the body spritzes that I have had, and some of which I still own. And for some reason, they just will not add them, and I don't understand. And it's really irritating because it's sometimes hard to remember, because the way that I work with perfumes is because they're not all out on display, because I just don't have space for them to all be out on display. I tend to look at Fragrantica to decide what I'm wearing. I'll kind of browse through them. Unless I know specifically what I want to wear, I'll be like, what kind of mood am I in? I'll go and look at my Fragrantica. I'll look at everything that I've got listed, and I kind of try to list them in mood groups, or like there's some kind of theme going on. So the kind of musky clean ones are all together, the very, very sweet gourmand ones are all together, the kind of darker winter ones are together. Do you know what I mean? Summer ones are together. So it's irritating when I've got quite a few things that they just won't put on the database, and I don't understand why they won't, because the whole point in having that forum is that people can say, this is a perfume that exists that I own and I would like you to put it on there. But for some reason they just won't with these. They are on Parfumo, and I do have a Parfumo as well. I just, for some reason, I don't find it as easy to use, and they also have quite a lot of perfume brands that they won't add. So I mean, a lot of them seem to be Middle Eastern or dupe houses and stuff, and they just refuse to put them on the thing. So I also have a few perfumes that they don't have. So I've never really deliberately swapped over to Parfumo, even though, yeah, Fragrantica has a lot of... Anyway, let's not get into the politics of it all. But I love Fresh Cream and Mint. I have the Fresh Cream body spray and the Fresh Cream perfume, and I already feel like next week I'm probably going to... Well, this week coming up, I'm probably going to be reaching for them because they're really cozy. Again, they're not really things I wear out of the house, because I know some people respond to Fresh Cream and think that it smells like baby spew because they find it very sour, because it is so realistically milky creamy. I don't get that at all. I absolutely love the Fresh Cream scent. I do think it smells like breast milk. I understand that people don't like that. But when it's got the mint in it, it does change it a little bit, but you do still get essentially that fresh cream, but with an added delicious mint note. And it smells like a gourmand mint. It doesn't smell like toothpaste, which a lot of minty perfumes sometimes lean a bit toothpastey. Not this. This actually, to me, smells exactly like one of the best desserts I have ever had. Let's go off on a mini tangent. So I used to go to Lataffa a lot with my family because I'm from the West Country. So on special occasions, we would go to a restaurant in Lataffa. And sadly, I don't think that this place exists anymore, but it was called Collie's. And it was so amazing back in the day. People used to, I mean, they properly dressed up like they were kind of Victorian or something. And it was 9 courses, which is insane, obviously. But it would start with, you'll have to excuse me here, because I love food and I love cooking and I love restaurants. And so this was very exciting for me, and my whole family loved it, and we'd take our grandmother, and anyway. So you'd go in and they'd have like the sort of cold buffet thing you'd start with. Then they'd always have a soup. It's the first time I'd ever had like a creamy parsnip and ginger soup, and I now make that pretty much every December. I love that soup. And then that you could pick from all this stuff, and they had, very famously, they had all these desserts, and they would bring the whole dessert to the table so you could see it and you could pick what you wanted. You know, so you actually got to eyeball it and decide what you wanted. But one time I went, they had a white chocolate and mint panna cotta, and I have thought about that pudding for decades, because I reckon I would probably have only been like 20 or 21 at the time. That might have been my 21st birthday when my family took me there, with a friend of mine actually from university. So, oh my God. I mean, I'm 43 and I have not forgotten how delicious that pudding was. And I've never had a panna cotta that was quite like it since. It was spectacular. And that is what this smells like. It doesn't smell toothpastey. It doesn't smell medicinal. It doesn't smell herbal. It smells like a white chocolate and mint panna cotta. Cooked cream, minty heaven. Absolutely scrumptious, sweet, cosy, lovely. But the mint in it makes it bright. So it's perfect for this kind of mild autumn that we're having. It's kind of, I want something cosy, but I think if I wore, so for instance, if I wear fresh cream next week when I think it's going to be a bit colder, I will wear the body spray and not the perfume. And then by the time we get to December, I'll probably be using the perfume because it's obviously stronger. But yeah, anyway, I mean, that's a lot of information about this. But if you can find this, I think I got this from a grey market perfume, proper perfume place, but they used to have it on eBay quite a lot as well. And it's just so joyous. I do think you can get this as a shower gel. And I think Philosophy still make that. Oh, I'd love it in a shower gel. Anyway, I've now been talking for ages and I've only done 4 perfumes. So anyway, I got very distracted by Collies and Lechlade, but you know. Sometimes the good things just don't stay, and sometimes we don't get to go back to our favourite places. All right. Oh, guys, I was so excited about this. Now, look, this is one that I've had for years, and I put it in my video that I've made, I mean, spoiler alert, about things I'm looking forward to wearing over like the festive period, because this feels festive to me, but it also feels really autumnal. And I was smelling it when I was doing that video, and much like when I wore Tocard the other day, I had it in a video and I was like, I need to wear that again because it's lush. So I broke it out day before Halloween, and because I had to wear all black for something I was doing, and then I put on some braces that I've got that have tiny little orange pumpkins on, and I was like, come on, you know, I mean, I need to have a little pop of some kind of colour. I don't like to wear entirely black unless, you know, there's a theme. And this is literally a little pumpkin. This is Lolita Land from, Lolita Lempicka, obviously. It's really, I wish I could show you the joy. I don't think it really comes out. Let me just try something, because I think it's such a luxury? I think it's such a glorious colour. Look at that delicious colour. It never really comes out in the video, but oh, anyway, very autumnal, very pumpkin-y to look at, but really doesn't have anything pumpkin-y about it in terms of the smell. So the absolutely stunning Lolita Land. This perfume is kind of spicy, it's juicy, it has a very sweet quality, but it's got a very bitter quality, it's got a kind of slightly almost cakey quality, a slightly jammy quality, and a custardy vanilla. It's really beautiful, but the more I've done this channel, the more I appreciate the complex perfumes. I don't necessarily like perfumes that are so complex that I find them difficult to wear, but I do appreciate ones that go through phases, or I can, on different days, at different times of the month, I can really smell different things about them. I obviously really appreciate simplicity in things like these. I think these are quite simple smelling, gorgeous perfumes that generally smell the same to me. Like, they don't really change. Whereas I think Angham and Burberry Goddess, I get different things in different quantities from them. But Lolita Land, I mean, and it does have so many notes, which I'm going to read out so you can imagine. You really get a little bit of something different each time. So top notes are Bellini, orange, Italian mandarin, pepper, lemon, grapefruit and lime. So it's very citrusy. Mid notes are white peach, plum, blackcurrant, jasmine, sambac, jasmine, magnolia and rose. And then the base notes are Madagascar vanilla, licorice, benzoin, white musk and sandalwood. God, I loved wearing this. And like, I really, really like Lolita Land in very cold weather. I think it is so warming and beautiful, and I think that's when it's easiest to wear, because it's cozy It's not overwhelming. But my God, this lasted forever. I took a little mini with me. I did not need to reapply this throughout the day. It really lasted really well, and it's just gorgeous. And if you see this with a very light colour, I think that's what it normally starts off as, and then it just gets darker. I've said it before, I'll say it again, and you'll be bored by the time you watch my Christmassy video because you'll have heard me say it, but imagine a spiced, warm cake with like an apricot jam or something spread all over the top, one that's very sugary but also has a real bitterness to it, and then a side of delicious vanilla creamy custard, and then add into that you're having like a Bellini or like some champagne on the side, because it does have that slightly effervescent and slightly acidic quality to it. It also has, in my humble opinion, a note that really makes me think of not Angostura bitters, that's not what I'm trying to say. Was it like if you get a Negroni? So it has that bitter orange quality of it. That, what is the alcohol called? Let me look. Like a Campari, that's what it is. It has a kind of Campari note. And I think lots of people liked the Amo Ferragamo from Salvatore Ferragamo. Like that, I mean, let me get it up. So this guy here, and I really wanted this perfume, but thank God I got a sample of it, because, I mean, now I know if I look at the notes, it's got lots of ambroxan in it, so I found it really screechy. But it has Campari and tea and vanilla, and it gets, like this, it gets very dark. And I feel like this one, like if you told me that instead of a Bellini in the top of this, it was Campari, like a really kind of bitter note, a bitter citrusy note, I would totally believe that. It has that quality to it, which I think makes it much more interesting. And the benzoin and the licorice is obviously just so deliciously warm and spicy and just, I loved wearing this. I could not get enough of myself. I thought I smelled amazing. I was very happy about it. I haven't got a huge amount of perfumes this week, to be honest, guys. I was a one a day kind of girl. Now, this one was on the day when I needed to get out of the house. I was running a bit late and I had no idea what to wear. And I was like, I chucked on my clothes, literally. I was like, quickly. And then I was like, ooh, what perfume am I going to wear? I don't know. I don't know what I'm in the mood for. What is the weather doing? I don't know. And so I grabbed for something that is just absolutely always one of my favourites. When people talk about Santal 33, I'm like, yeah, okay, but it's no Indi. I just really, God, I love Indi. I really love Indi by Katy Perry. It's one of my absolute favourites. It's one of my easiest wears. This, again, I still don't understand why it says that there's cedar in it when it is so clearly to my nose, and I think to everyone else's nose, and to anyone who's smelt this particular kind of creamy, almost coconutty sandalwood type smell. This smells like sandalwood. It doesn't smell like cedar. So, it's almost making my mouth water, which is weird because it's not really gourmand. But like I said, I get something like a coconut cream in this. So it's plum and white tea and bergamot in the top. The mid notes, white cedar extract, lily of the valley and cyclamen. Base notes, musk, white musk, black musk, Egyptian musk, island musk, tonka bean and amber. I've never actually investigated the official notes of this anywhere other than Fragrantica, so I don't know how accurate those notes are. But I just think it's so lush. I love it. It's creamy, it's musky, it's sandalwoody, it's clean. And actually, I was sniffing it and I was like, you know, Glossier, not the original You, but You Do smells like a kind of chemical-y version of this. And funnily enough, I was actually, I was going through my samples. I sent a bunch of samples, some of which are the ones I've bought myself and I've now reviewed, even if you haven't seen them. They'll be coming. And some of which were the ones that the lovely Roxy sent me, and they just weren't for me. I've sent them on to other perfume friends. And so I was going through them, and I had another sniff of the other Glossier one called You Rev. Now, that is the one that I found heartbreaking because that was so tarry and like screechy when it dried down because of the ambroxan and whatever other horrible things they had in it that I don't enjoy. But I really loved the plum and the buttercream note in that. I loved the sweetness that was in that. And I was thinking to myself, oh, actually, yeah, that has got something a bit Katy Perry Indie-ish about it. But, and then I smelt it again from a little sample. And I went, oh, this smells like my Elizabeth Arden white tea vanilla orchid to me. And then I was like, oh, nice. So I was thinking to myself, oh, I wish this didn't smell so chemically. And I've actually got something that smells quite like it. I've got something that smells like You Rev. I've got something that smells like You Do. And actually, I've also got Fleur de Peau, which I think smells a bit like the original You. I haven't smelt. I think they've released some new ones, have they? I haven't smelt yet. They've got You Fleur, which I completely ignored. They've got one called Sandstone and one called Orange Blossom Neroli, which I would say look like body spray. All right, and then Halloween, darlings. Yesterday was Halloween. Now, because I had my friend Fern over, my beloved friend Fern, who is moving out of London, and, you know, I love her and my husband loves her too. So we had to have her over. She came over for Halloween and we drank, I made some Shoreditch sangria, which is something that All Bar One used to do. I'm not going to give you like a full recipe, but, you know, if anyone wants it, I'll give it to you down below. Absolutely delicious. So we drank quite a lot, but I was at work during the day and I had a lunch yesterday as well. So there was a lot going on. So I had to dress appropriately for work, but also something a bit fun because lunch. And then I didn't want to have to get changed or do anything when I got home. So I'm on Instagram. So if you find me on Instagram, you'll see I was wearing like a kind of blood red, like sweater dress type thing. And I had on my classic Halloween necklace, which is like a moon with a witch and a cat on a broomstick flying across, from a now defunct company called Black Heart Creatives. And I was like, right, I was going to wear a kind of Lost Cherry type thing. But then I was like, I think it's still a bit too mild. I think the spices in that particular perfume are going to dry down and maybe be a bit too much for me when it's mildish. So I wanted something that was a bit cherry. I wanted something that felt a bit Halloween-y, but I wanted something that was going to be work appropriate and evening appropriate and appropriate to have on when I'm in a restaurant, not overwhelming everyone else and not putting me off my food. Oh, my baby girl, my sweet baby girl. Oh my God. I mean, the original Lolita, she's perfect. She is whimsical, but also has a bit of a dark side because she's got that licorice. So this is the bottle. This is the one I spray on, but I have the little pen spray of Le Parfum. So this is the modern version of Lolita Lempicka, and it's friggin' delicious. It's so beautiful. This is my personal feeling. Obviously, everyone can do what they want, and I have a lot of the discontinued Lolita Lempickas, but I've never tried to find. I mean, you can get them, but I wouldn't pay the money for an old version of the original Lolita Lempicka, partly because I have a different flanker which I think smells so similar that I don't think I need it, but also because I think the Le Parfum version they make now, which is the vegan formulation, I think it smells incredible. I don't feel like I need the old version of this. I love this perfume. It is sexy but fun. It's sweet, but it has a real darkness from the licorice and some of the other really interesting notes in it. So let's talk about it. So the original Lolita Lempicka Le Parfum, which you can get from their website, you can get it from Notino. I obviously always advise, I want to support Lolita Lempicka. I love their perfumes, but it is much cheaper to get these on the grey market. So yeah, and if it looks like this bottle, it's probably the current version of Lolita Lempicka. They also, every Christmas, release this exact perfume but in a different bottle, so a different flacon, I think they're called. They've had a midnight coloured one, they've had an entirely gold one. Oh my God, they're so beautiful. And if I had loads of money and loads of space, I would probably collect the different bottles because they're so beautiful, even though I know I'd never get through the perfume, so it's a bit of a waste. But anyway, so in this one, Lolita Lempicka Le Parfum, they've got notes anise, cherry in the top, middle notes violet and orris root, base notes licorice, white musk and tonka. However, that's not everything. I'm going to click on the original because they've got a more expansive list. So Star anise, violet and ivy in the top. Middle notes licorice, cherry, iris, orris root and amaryllis. Base notes vanilla, praline, tonka bean, white musk and vetiver. Now, the star anise and the licorice are the things here that makes this smell like Maleficent would wear it. Do you know what I mean? It smells almost like, not really an evil fairy, but maybe a slightly trickstery fairy. Lady Loki, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, but it's so sweet and it's still so feminine and it's so gorgeous and I'm obsessed and I love it. And I'm so glad I've got this in so many different versions, you know, of this same profile, which is why, to be honest, I was a bit disappointed that the new release from Lolita Lempicka doesn't have any of the DNA in this. Like, I if they just brought out like a lighter violet perfume, it would be amazing. Like something akin to the EDT they used to make would be so good. But anyway, I'm obsessed. I love this. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And what I'll say is, this is also one, probably because it has such a sexy musk in it, that I used to like this in really cold weather. I feel like I'm so obsessed with this profile now, I don't have a problem with wearing the actual Le Parfum during milder cold weather, if you see what I mean, sort of mild 15-ish degrees. But I do still feel the same about Mon Premier, because Mon Premier is thicker, it's stronger to me, it's much sweeter, and it's not as complex, but I think it really works really well to cheer you up in very cold weather because of the thick sweetness. It's very syrupy, and it's not as kind of dark, it's more fun smelling than this one. But so I'm going to be just wearing this one all the time, and I'm going to wear Mon Premier probably December time when it really gets cold. Oh, I can't stop sniffing it because it's so beautiful. And like I said, my favourite version of this is the Fleurs de Fondue, which again, I've seen, if you're interested in it, there's another one that's come up on eBay, because I'm always keeping an eye out, because I'd really like the Midnight Couture. I'd really like to try, that's like intensely licorice heavy. I'd really like to smell that version. So I'm always keeping an eye out for secondhand Lolita Lempickas. And yeah, I saw Fleur de Fondue come up again and I was like, oh God, I just love that perfume. That's my easy reach version of Lolita Lempicka. All right, I've got to stop smelling it because I could just talk about it all day. But I do think, I mean, loved it, loved it, loved it. Loved it, but maybe not quite as much as these three. Liked it. Was actually obsessed with myself in these. Like, I was like, I can't, you know, I've said before, like in the UK, it's very rare for people to kind of stop you and say anything. I have actually recently I had someone tell me that they really liked my boots, I think, and then I had someone else a lovely lady came up to me, and I'm always hoping they're going to talk about my perfume, but she was like, your coat is amazing. I had like a trench coat on that's got like these streaks of very bright colours down the side. And she was like, oh, I really love your trench. Like, it's really cheered me up. And I was like, oh, nice. But no one ever says anything about my perfumes. Like, it's so rare that people comment, like strangers, I mean. And when I wear this kind of thing, I'm always like, I'm actually affronted that no one has told me how nice I smell. I'm like, please, can you just smell me and be like, come up to me and say, I don't want to sound creepy, you smell incredible. Because I smell incredible. And I spray enough of it that I know that people can smell me, because I can smell myself on the tube through my mask. So tell me that I smell beautiful, please, people. Do you know what I mean? Although my husband gave me a hug when my friend left last night. And he was snuggling, he was like, oh, you smell so good. And I was like, yeah, Lolita Lempicka, baby. He really likes this one. I think I've never really made like a man killer perfume video, because I don't wear perfumes for men, and that's not really my vibe, you know. I'm not going to tell people, because every man killer video, if my husband smelled those perfumes, he would hate all of them. They're nearly always fruit chulis for some reason, and all of the things that women talk about men liking, he doesn't like any of those. But this kind of sweet, fruity, sexy, musky perfume, he loves this. He loves that one as well. These are his kind of perfumes. He doesn't care about this. He does not care about vanillas. But my goodness, if it's musky and it's fruity, my man be loving them perfumes. So yeah, I feel like I've been talking for quite a while, and most of it has just been absolute rambles. So it's been a rambly one. I feel like I had a stroppy one, and now I've got an excitable one, possibly because I have a minor hangover. So maybe I'm just hyper because I had a little nap today. Anyway, I really need to stop talking. Guys, tell me what you've been wearing. Tell me if you have any of these. Tell me if you have or have tried Lolita Land, because I think as time goes on, I appreciate this more and more. Like, I'm really looking forward already to wearing this again. I think the bitterness is what saves it from being a little bit flatter and less interesting than it could be. Like, I just think it's wonderful. Anyway, I am actually going to stop now because I really am rambling. Guys, you're wonderful. Thank you for watching. I really didn't have much this week, but what I wore was pretty awesome, most of it. So I will see you next Sunday. In the meantime, I hope you come back on Wednesday for whichever video I've got up, which I can't even remember what's loaded, but thank you for watching. Thank you if you're subscribed. If you're not and you can bear me rambling on like this, please do consider subscribing, and you're all wonderful. I hope you've all been smelling very nice. Bye guys.